Welcome to the Lady Walker Show. I am Maggie Christian McGriggs, guest host for the lovely Lady Walker. And joining me today is my friend, but also founder and owner of Glamour Girl Makeovers, Ethel Havard. And also joining us is the lovely Kameron Jefferson, who is Ethel's model for today. Now, Ethel, you are going to expound or talk about Makeover and Glamour Girls and what all goes into that today. So just go ahead and let's just get started. Tell me what you're going to do with Kameron today.
Okay, well, first of all, let me just thank you for having me here on the Lady Walker Show. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure.
It's a pleasure to be your guest, and also to thank Kameron for being my model for today.
Yes, yes.
But first, I'd just like to share, if I could, the acronym for Glamour.
Okay.
And, of course, you know, Glamour is spelled Glamour. Well, that stands for godly living always makes our uniqueness rise.
Oh, I love that. And speaking of unique, talking about Kameron, her name starts with a K instead of a C. You know, everybody would think C.
Right.
But it's a K, so that's unique. It's just for Kameron. And we also thank Kameron's parents for allowing her to be on the show today, Van and Carolyn Jefferson. Shout out to the parents for such a lovely daughter that they have. So what do you want to share with us, Kameron? Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you go to school.
Well, I go to school at Madison Central. I'm a sophomore. It's my first year there.
Very good. How old are you?
I'm 14.
You're 14. Okay, now you are such a beautiful girl.
Thanks.
So do you do anything like cheerleading or anything like that? You know, it's where the little preppy girls, they love to be the cheerleaders. And what do you do?
I run track.
You run track. Well, that's interesting. Okay, and so in this running and everything, how do you stay so glamorous?
Soap and water.
Soap and water. I like that. But actually, you can go ahead and say that it's because that's the way that God made you. That's the way I see it. That's the way that God made you. He made you a glamorous young lady, model type young lady. Even though you can do the track too. That's it's all you know. It's all good. But go ahead, Ethel, and tell us a little bit more. You were talking about glamour and how it's a God sin for us to be glamorous.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I believe that true beauty starts on the inside.
Yes, me too.
And the more we learn, I know for myself personally, the more I learned who I was in God, how He sees me, and that according to Psalms 139 verse 14, yes, which I know is one of your favorite scriptures as well, that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And the way that we are is the way God created us to be.
Right. But then if you go on down to verse 15, it talks about how we are skillfully wrought. So, you know, that means that God, you know, He took time when He was making man. And like you said, He put something on the inside of us that could radiate on the outside. And so it's up to us to tap into what God has placed on the inside of us and to get that natural beauty, which is what we have in Kameron right here. Okay.
Exactly.
Very good.
Well, what I'm going to do with Kameron today in this first segment is I've already prepped her face.
Okay.
There was a cleanser process. That's what I did at first.
Okay.
And then the next step was a toner. The next step was a moisturizer.
Okay.
And then the very next step was a primer. That's just to prepare her face for the makeup.
Okay. But tell me a little bit. You said toner, not because I know cleanser, but toner. Tell me a little bit about that.
It basically is just, it's not a necessary step, but it is one that I like to use because it just tightens the skin, you know, just to prepare it for the makeup.
Okay. Well, it looks so natural, though. It really doesn't look like she has on any makeup, and that's why I was saying. And so now you're going to go on to, you were about to say something about the primer.
Well, actually, the primer is the last step before you actually put the foundation on.
Okay.
She just has naturally beautiful skin.
Oh, okay.
I did a little test spot on the side, but other than that, she has no makeup on at all.
Right.
Right now, her skin is just prepared, and when we come back, we'll talk about the makeup, the actual foundation that's put on. But right now, she doesn't have any.
Okay. But see, I couldn't go like Kameron. I gotta have something. Some people, they can go like you said. She's just naturally beautiful.
Right.
And I'm sure I was like that too when I was younger. But by aging and everything, I got to do a little extra now. And I'm one of those that does not leave home without my makeup. Okay. So I don't do a whole lot, but I do have to have some coverage.
Oh, yes.
And so, but there's nothing wrong with that. But I love her skin. It's like I said, it's just so beautiful. And she's such a beautiful person.
She is.
And so, Kameron, are you, I know you said that you do the athletic thing. So how do you stay pretty when you're doing that? Because I know that you still are. What do you do? Just pull your hair back in like a ponytail, or just
actually,
what do you do?
I like to let it flow.
Oh, go girl! That's what I'm talking about.
Just keep the sweat from my face.
Okay.
The sun.
So okay, very good. That was a good hint too. Not too much sun, because that has an effect on our skin.
That's true.
Okay. Well, very good. And see, for a young person, she has wisdom.
She does.
And I like that. And it also reflects on her parents, that they are training her in the way that she should be trained. Exactly. Another shout out to the parents, because that is something that is so imperative to our parents. I mean, to God, for us as parents to train our children up like they're supposed to be trained, so that when they get out in the world, then they'll be able to, do what they're supposed to do, what God intended for them to do. And speaking of going out into the world, I hear that Kameron has plans for one day maybe being famous, I think it is.
Yes.
Okay. Well, with God, all things are possible to him who believes. Okay, well, I just want to thank you so much, Ethel. We are coming up to a time where we're going to have to take a break, but we'll be back with some more information about a glamorous makeover. Thank you.
Lady Walker Show.
Welcome back to the Lady Walker Show. Let's take a look at our glamour girl, Kameron.
Okay.
Quite a transformation has taken place while we were on break. Ethel, can you tell me a little bit about what has happened with Kameron?
Okay, I'll be happy to. As I mentioned earlier, her face had already been prepped and prepared for to apply the actual foundation. So what I did was I just used a liquid foundation, and it's very important to try to find a foundation that's as close to your complexion as possible.
Right. Don't want it looking ashy like some people, and that means that it's too light, I guess.
Right.
Okay.
And then also, speaking of ash, sometimes there are light, I guess they call them polymers, that are in makeup. Even if it's the right color indoors or whatever, but if you're going to be on TV, the light will reflect that makeup, and it can make it appear like it's the wrong shade. But, if you have something like studio work or television, or if you're going to be taking pictures where there are a lot of lights, it's very important to find out from your makeup consultant if that makeup has light in it.
And that's where you come in.
Yes.
So next time I need to do some glamour shots, I need your consultation.
Absolutely.
Okay. See, there's many aspects to what you do, different facets to what you do. Most people think that you just go and you get some makeup and you put it on, but you have to look into a lot of details, and I never thought about that, because I just go and just try to match something up with my skin, and then I found sometimes that my hand and my face not even the same color, so I come out with the wrong stuff. And then in some stores, it's like once you open it, you can't take it back.
That's
true.
So,
you're just stuck.
Right.
We don't like to be stuck. But, of course, with Kameron, she really doesn't. Her skin is so pretty anyway that she doesn't even really have to mess with stuff like this if she doesn't want to.
Right.
But of course, we always can go up another level, and that's what
right.
you've done with her.
Yes.
And she is absolutely gorgeous.
And we're not even finished yet.
Oh,
so
okay.
this is just what I've done is, as I mentioned, I put the foundation on, and I started with the eyes, and put a little pinkish eyeshadow over her bottom lid,
Right.
and then just a lighter color on her brow bone.
Okay.
It just highlights that eye area.
And I like what you've done because she's just 14 years
That's
old. I think that's what you
correct.
told me, 14.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not overbearing. You know, some little girls try to grow up too fast.
Yes.
They look at models and they look, you know, on television and with these iPods and everything, and they see something, and it does look good.
Yeah.
But it might not be appropriate for their age. And so I like what you have done with Kameron, that it's, you know, it's just enough to just, you know, enhance.
To
It's what he's
enhance.
doing.
Enhance.
Yes.
Because that's what it's all about, and that's actually where it started with me. Because one day I was just spending some time with the Lord, and I was just having this I was just going down a list saying I didn't like this about myself, I didn't like that, and well, this is too big, and I'd like to change that, and you know, and I just heard a still small voice on the inside saying to me, "Are you saying I made a mistake when I made you?"
Oh, wow. And I know that makes you stand still.
Oh,
and
yes.
think,
Oh,
like
yes.
Selah in the Bible. Huh?
Yes. Yes, Selah. I had a Selah moment. And I was, you know, so no, I wasn't saying that. And he said, well, that's exactly what you're saying.
Wow.
When you are finding fault in yourself and the way you look, and you're just searching, you're just finding everything that's wrong, basically you're saying that, you know, that God made a mistake when he gave, you know.
Right, and we know that he did not, but we also know that there is the enemy out there.
That's
and
right.
so he comes in sometimes, and all that he can use is our thought life. And so he speaks those negative, you know, things in our minds. That's the only thing that he can use. And to tell us that we don't look as good as we, you know, should look, or we don't do like we should do. You know, he always brings out the negative.
Right.
But if we would look in the Word, like you said, then God shows us the positive. And that, whose report are we going to believe?
We're going to believe the report of the Lord.
The report of the Lord.
That's
and,
right.
And going back to what you said, he said that we are fearfully and wonderfully made.
That's right.
And then, you know, I always like to tease men a little bit, and I always say that God took a little special time when he made woman.
He did.
He really did. But, you know, we also have to go through so much more than a man to look good. You know, the average man, they don't really have to do that much. They go to sleep and look in one way. When they wake up, they look the same way. But for us, I mean, for me, when I go to sleep, I may look one way. When I wake up, sometimes my hair might be all over my head or whatever, you know. So it's just different. We have to do a little bit more. And I'm just so thankful for the gift that God has given you, you know, to speak to us as women and to show us how we can be all that God has called us to be, how we can be beautiful inside and out.
Right.
So now, Kameron, tell me a little bit about you and Mom as far as makeup. Mom's okay with you wearing it?
Well, I don't really wear makeup.
Oh, okay. So you did this just for us? Oh, well. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you get ready to go to a special occasion, do you do anything like maybe a little lip gloss or something like that? Or you just don't do anything?
I do lip gloss and a little bit of eyeliner.
Oh, okay.
Small line.
Okay. Well, we certainly thank Mom for allowing you to be our model for today. Yes. And, you know, that's something to think about, though, because, like I said earlier, sometimes the young girls, when they get maybe 10 or 11 years old, they want to start doing things that teenagers
Right.
And even sometimes the teenage stage, it's just so much different than when we were growing up. Because I think when I was 10, I was still playing with dolls and stuff like that. I didn't think anything about makeup. And I actually did not start wearing makeup until I was already out in the workforce.
Okay.
I had already finished college and everything. So I would have had to have been maybe 22 or 23 years old before I even thought about makeup. So that goes back to show that God naturally puts in us what we need.
That's
we
right.
don't have to have it. But since I started using it, I can't do without it.
Yeah.
That's just what happened to me.
Yeah.
Once I started, then I couldn't go back the other way.
Yeah.
Because I have that expectation that I'm supposed to look a certain way.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's the way it should be.
Okay.
And I believe that if you have a certain standard set for yourself, other people will see that. And people tend to respect those people that respect themselves.
That's true.
You know, and have a standard.
Right.
And that's one thing I am very passionate about, is trying to encourage young women to have some standards for yourself.
Yes.
You know, don't allow anyone to treat you any kind of way. Love you. And others will love you back when they see that love exhibited through your life.
Right. Oh, that is such a good point. But we're going to have to take a break.
Okay.
And we'll be right back.
Lady Walker Show.
We are back to the Lady Walker Show. And I am just so amazed at Kameron and how beautiful she is. I tell you, we're not going to give out her phone number or anything.
Right,
because we don't want Dad to have to get his shotgun or
Right,
anything
that's
like
right.
that. But maybe in the future, because I can just see her being in something
Absolutely.
that's, like she said, something that will make her famous, because she is such a beautiful person.
She is.
And not only just beautiful on the outside, but she has such a sweet personality.
She does.
And so we're just so thankful. But now, if somebody would ever need to contact her, I'm sure that they could contact Kameron if there was a pageant or something that, you know, they wanted her participation in, or to do a makeover on her or something like that. So go ahead and give us a little information about Glamour Girl Makeovers.
Okay. Well, Glamour Girl Makeovers, basically, it's a multifaceted type of, it's really, I see it as a ministry.
Okay.
Because I do believe with all my heart it is what God has called me to do.
Okay.
By sharing my own experience and about where God brought me from.
Okay.
And, you know, it's a wonderful thing to be able to look in the mirror. Even if you don't have makeup on, you've learned to love that person on the inside, flaws and all. And be happy with what you see, because you know that you were God's idea. You know? And so that's my desire to, Glamour Girl desires to reach especially younger women at an early age, before they can get out in the world and have the world tell them negative things about themselves or try to set an image for themselves, you know. They need to learn who they are through the Word of God. And that they're beautiful just the way that He created them, but there are things that they can do to enhance what, you know, just to make up, you know, some people call it war paint. And because that puts a negative on some people, it looks like war paint. On some people it does. If it's applied properly, then it would enhance your natural features. But people should still be able to recognize that who you are, you know. And it not only deals with the makeup, but there are a lot of women that are dealing with hair issues. And, you know.
You know, I've been through that too. Yes. See where I am now. I just came back to what God has given me. You know, my husband was a little skeptical of me going natural. And some people that you see, it's not becoming. But because I exercise and I sweat, there's no perspiring with me. It's sweat. And so I would sweat so bad, even in my hair, that the permanent was just not working for me anymore. The chemicals were just like clashing or whatever. I don't know what was going on. But I was getting discouraged. And I know that God wants me to be free and not discouraged about anything. And so I just made a decision one day that I told my husband, I said, you know what? God knew what he was doing when he made me.
That's right.
And this is the hair that he gave me. And so now, you know, I think he's okay with it, and I certainly am, and it has given me a freedom. I can do something different if I want to with my hair. There are other options, but I'm okay with just being natural too. And so, you know, that's just the way that God is. But anyway, I want you, you said that this is ministry to you, so I want you to come back another time so we can go into that part, the spiritual part.
Absolutely.
As you know, like today we've done the natural part, and we see, now with the Kameron, there was no miracle that had to happen. If you did a makeover on me, it would be a miracle. But, you know, but still just to see how beautiful we are as God's creation. And so I want you to come back and we go into the spiritual aspect of that. I want to know more about that ministry. But in the meantime, I want you to give out your information of if somebody needs a makeover or some pointers or anything, or if they need their hair done, like you said, you can do hair, you do extensions, and you do braids. So give your contact information for anyone who needs to contact you.
Okay, I'll be happy to. You can contact me at Glamour Girl Makeovers. My number is area code 601-320-1684. I can also be found on Facebook at Ethel Brown Havard. And they will be able to go on and look at some before and after pictures of some transformations that took place. And also I can be contacted via email at brown4665@aol.com.
Very good. So I'm sure that people are going to contact you. I know I certainly have. She has rescued me many times, Kameron, with my hair, because like I said, it was a struggle, wasn't it?
It was.
I have gone through so much with my hair. And so Ethel has rescued me. Not only is she the owner of Glamour Girl Cosmetics, but she's my friend. She's my sister. You know, I didn't have like, well, you're an only child, aren't you? I just thought about that. And see, when I was growing up, I was the only child for like 12 years. Then my little brother came. And so I didn't have that interaction with other sisters or things like that. But when I met Ethel, then I had a chance. They accepted me just like I was family. And I'll never forget it. And I'm just so thankful that God connected us. And so, you know, I just don't even know what to say. Sometimes it's beyond words. And you know that's not me, because I can always come up with something to say. But anyway, Kameron, again, I want to thank you so much for participating with us, for just being so willing. And I just want to say again, you are beautiful, you are gorgeous. I could say you are a diva. How about that? And I just want to agree with you that one day you are going to be famous. I know that God has put some good stuff on the inside of you. And so we're just going to look out for that manifestation. Hope to see you one day. Standing up there, we'll be cheering her on.
That's right. We will.
Well, thanks again to you, Ethel, for being with us today. And the process that you've gone through is just so amazing.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right.
Lady Walker Show.
Well, guess what, ladies? We've come to a time where we're going to have to close this segment of the Lady Walker Show, but it has certainly been a pleasure to have you, Ethel Havard, owner of Glamour Girl Makeovers, and to have you, Kameron Jefferson, our supermodel for today. And we just want to thank the lovely Lady Walker and give you some good advice that she always gives. Lady Walker says that a merry heart does good like a medicine. So always take some time to laugh. And I agree with that too. So let's just take some time and just laugh. Do you laugh, Kameron?
Yeah.
You laugh? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you all know that I laugh. It's something that I have done all my life, at one point not even knowing why. But then I realized that it was a gift from God. And so he has kept me healthy throughout these years because I laugh. And again, special thanks to the lovely Lady Walker.